Germany is rich with history and culture when it comes to autocar racing. It is home to many motorsport venues that turned racing into what it is today for drivers and avid fans. This video will focus on AVUS, which has provided a wide variety of exciting events and an important history to the country as a whole. The Automobilverkehrs- und Übungsstraße is a public road in Berlin, Germany. For Americans' sake, it's better known as AVUS. It opened in 1921 and is the oldest controlled access highway in Europe. Until 1998, it was also used as a racing circuit. Because the road was shared for two entirely different things, leisure driving and racing, the shape had to accommodate both. It consists of two long straight in the form of a dual highway and a hairpin at each end, making it so the track only has 4 turns in total. One of the hairpin curves, the North Curve, featured a steep banking from 1937 to 1967, seen here. The track length was originally 12 miles long, but after moving turns, shortening the track, and taking out the banking, it ended up only being around 1.6 miles. The fastest time around the track was recorded in 1959 at 2 minutes and 4.5 seconds. It was in 1907 when the Kaiserlicher Automobile Club Association developed a circuit for both a car racing venue as well as a testing track for the motor industry, which was big in Germany then. Because of a slow development of a company to build the track and the lack of finances, construction for AVUS was delayed until the spring of 1913. During the Great War, work on the track discontinued for German citizens but started for Russian army prisoners. In 1920, the track was still unfinished until it became financed by a businessman and politician, Hugo Steins. A gate building and stands were added to AVUS, and on September 24, 1921, the track was inaugurated by the International Automobile Exhibition with a motor race. Afterwards, the track was open as a road to the public at a charge of 10 marks, which is equivalent to $7 today. At the time of the opening, AVUS was 12 miles long. Each straight was about 6 miles, and the track was driven counterclockwise. The circuit was home to Grand Prix racing as well as motorcycle racing. On July 11, 1926, the track hosted the first German Grand Prix for sports cars. In 1927, AVUS lost the German Grand Prix to Nürburgring, but gained a new asphalt surface and served as the experimental track for rocket cars. On May 23, 1928, Fritz von Opel achieved a speed record on the AVUS track, reaching 148 miles per hour in an Opel Rack 2. Due to the Great Depression, auto racing at AVUS halted. It wasn't until 1931 that racing resumed. The competition on May 22, 1932 was the start of trouble at AVUS. This is the day when driver Prince George Christian died when his Bugatti Type 54 crashed in the southern hairpin turn. This was also the race that exposed the annoyance of new Nazi rulers when a German racer didn't win. They declared that the victory of German drivers and cars were a matter of national pride, and they would stand for nothing less than German domination in the racing world. In 1935, AVUS was declared no longer adequate for cars reaching the average racing speed of over 125 miles per hour. So in 1936, there was an effort to make AVUS the fastest track in the world with new construction. The racing season that year was canceled, but the track hosted bike racing, marathons, and walking events for the 1936 Summer Olympics. This was also the year that the northern hairpin turn was turned into a steeply banked turn made of brick. The lack of a retaining barrier resulted in cars missing the turn completely and flying off the track, giving the turn its nickname, the Wall of Death. The new dangerous curve only allowed Silver Arrows to race on the track, and in 1937, Hermann Lang's race speed of 171 miles per hour made history as the fastest road race ever recorded. This record wasn't broken until 1967 at the Indianapolis 500 on a high-speed oval. No major race was held at the 1937 AVUS circuit after that year, as the high-speed track was considered too dangerous for the fast land speed record cars and needed to be updated. The track's general location was also becoming occupied by American occupation forces during World War II. Racing started back up at AVUS after World War II, and the first race was held on July 1, 1951, for both Formula 2 and Formula 3 cars. The race was won by German driver Paul Gutzfu. For post-war racing, the straights were shortened by the introduction of a new southern turn in the middle of the track, reducing the track length to just over 5 miles. It is believed that the Berlin Wall was responsible for the change of track length, seeing that it was only located about a half-mile away from the circuit. AVUS finally hosted its only World Championship Formula One race with the 1959 German Grand Prix on August 2nd. The race had both high and low points. The winner was Tony Brooks, but the race also saw the death of French driver Jean Barrat. His Porsche FSK flew over the wall of death where there was no wall or fence. After leaving the track surface, his body impacted a flagpole where he was flung from his race car. After 1961, Grand Prix racing no longer took place on banked circuits. The banked sections of tracks were considered too dangerous by the international racing standards. Before they abandoned them completely, chicanes were added to try to slow down cars, but they were still considered extremely dangerous. The banking of AVUS was dismantled in 1967 to give way to an intersection in the Funkturm Tower. From this tower, you can see that AVUS isn't perfectly straight. Racing was continued with a flattened northern turn, but AVUS only held national touring cars, DTM, and Formula 3 events. The track's length was cut in half now, so the track became extremely unpopular. Also, chicanes were added to reduce the entry speed into the northern curve. Changes to the track to slow down cars didn't stop all accidents from happening. The BMW of Dieter Quester rolled over while exiting the last corner and crossed the finish line on its roof. Also, the car of John Winter hit a barrier and exploded into a fireball. You'll be able to see this horrific crash shown in this next short clip.
So, Ludwig Dritter, vorne Asch, der jetzt die Führung übernommen hat im Verlauf dieser ersten Runde. Diese Schikane neu konzipiert, sehr viel ungefährlicher als bisher, flüssiger zu durchfahren. Oh ja, da dreht sich ein Kalibra. Oh, das gibt einen fürchterlichen Anprall. Oh, das ist John Winter aus Bremen. Ein furchtbarer Anprall. Oh wei, das sieht gar nicht gut aus. Ein bitterböser Unfall von John Winter aus Bremen. Eine ganz schlimme Geschichte. Aber er kann sich befreien. Ich habe gerade gesehen, er hat da versucht herauszukommen. Gott sei Dank ist das für ihn zumindest einigermaßen glimpflich verlaufen. Hat der noch ein Glück gehabt, dass er sich da hat befreien können. Das ist das erste Mal überhaupt, dass ein Auto in der deutschen Tourenwagenmeisterschaft nach einem Anprall so in Brand gerät. Ich bin sicher, es kommt eine Pace-Car-Phase jetzt. Es wird mit Sicherheit das Safety-Car herauskommen. Vielleicht wird sogar abgebrochen. Ich persönlich neige dazu zu sagen, es wird abgebrochen. Rote Fahne, da ist sie schon. Abbruch dieses ersten Durchgangs nach diesem furchterregenden Unfall mit John Winter am Steuer. Aber ich kann Ihnen noch mal sagen, er ist mit eigener Kraft rausgekommen, wird jetzt natürlich sofort versorgt, untersucht. Die Sache ist für ihn überaus glimpflich ausgegangen. Sie sehen hier die erste Behandlung durch den Rennarzt am Rande der Strecke. Vorsichtig wird der Helm abgenommen. Da ist natürlich jetzt mehr ein Schock im Spiel. Brandverletzungen hat es mit Sicherheit in der Kürze der Zeit keine gegeben. Die Fahrer sind gut geschützt durch den Rennoverall, die Unterwäsche, die feuersichere Kopfhaube. Er steht wieder auf eigenen Füßen. Also ich muss Ihnen gestehen, ich bin heilfroh, dass der ehemalige Le Mans-Sieger sich hier so glücklich hat aus der Affäre ziehen können und mit relativ geringen Verletzungen davonkam.
Tragedy didn't stop, and in 1995, British driver Keith O'Durr was killed in a super touring car when his car spun and hit the wall sideways. The AVUS circuit hasn't seen a race since 1999. After the fall of the Berlin Wall, the closure of the highways that were part of the track became extremely problematic for environmental and traffic concerns. The last real race was held in 1998, and a farewell racing event with veterans of the track was held there in 1999. The end of AVUS officially came in 2000 when the new Euro Speedway Lausitz in Brandenburg was considered its replacement. The famous round race control tower, with both the Mercedes-Benz and Bosch sponsorship, still remains at the northern end of the track and is used as a restaurant and motel by the public. In addition, the wooden grandstand section seen here is protected as a historic monument. The AVUS racing circuit can certainly be called one of the most historically rich tracks in the world. It survived 2 world wars, Nazi rule, and multiple reconstructions. There remain some parts of the track that are still intact today, which stand as a large tourist attraction. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video.